你想過未？
Think about this.
你哋出嚟長大，
You grew up in the family,
當中兄弟唔插你，
and all your brothers don't care about you.
話你是歹人，
They treat you as somebody's bad,
壓力真大，
and you will experience great
唔免
pressure.
講緊行啦。
Now let's not
互
talk
信
about
喺教
that
會
far.
裏面，
Even sometimes in
你
the
同人
church,
關係唔好些，
when we have a problem with a person,
壓力真
the
大，
pressure is so great.
無愛看到伊，
You don't want to see the
無
person.
愛同伊講話，
You don't want to talk to
明
him.
明看到伊，幾日未看到，
And you see the person, but you try to pretend you don't
壓
see
力
him.
真大。
The pressure is so great.
這是 Joseph，
And that was Joseph.
到這個時陣，
And it came to a point
哎呀，
where
終於未見解決，
his brothers sold him
無
into
愛同伊
Egypt.
殺到落走啦。
His brothers didn't want to see him, just drove him
佢
away.
哋埃及最勞力，
In Egypt, he became a slave.
但是後人還安，
And then he was falsely accused.
因為上帝及伊同在，
Because God was with
以
him.
前言道，
He was very handsome.
叫上帝提升起來啲全嘅最管嘅，
And then God exalted him to become the person in charge of the whole
以
household.
少嘅言道，
Because he was too handsome.
頭記了嚟扯伊，
And then the mistress came to see him.
he say no，
And he said no.
he say no，
He said no.
結果頭記了生氣，
The mistress became angry at him
逼得
and turned the story around.
唔是我要引誘伊，伊嚟衝地我，
It's not that I wanted to seduce him, but he was here to molest me.
結果後人還安去這家具，
He was falsely accused and thrown into prison.
你人生很久，你不後人還安喎？
In your life, have you ever been falsely accused?
明明唔是我做嘅，
That I never did that. I did not the one. I wasn't the one who did this, but people say that you were the one
明
who
明
did
嗰啲冇
this.
關係，
It was nothing to do with
有人
you,
講嗰啲有關係，
but people say that it's got something to do with
你
you.
壓力未？
Will you feel the pressure?
戰鬥壓力，
You will feel great pressure.
這是做實。
And that was Joseph.
到這咱戰最壓力嘅時陣，
Now, when a person has a lot of pressure,
你就有貴人嘅改變。
you know, the person is going to change
喺
the
中
whole
國歷
person.
史嘅裏面，
In Chinese
每一
history,
個人喺壓力嘅中間，一暗裏面頭盲餓嘅變咗白，
there was a person who, in a single night, because of pressure, his hair turned from black to white.
本來是餓頭盲，
Originally, it was black hair,
佢就人變咗一部係咪頭盲，弄咗
but
白。
suddenly it became like the hair of Abraham.
這個人是叫做伍子胥，
And this person's name is Wu
這
Zixi.
是伍子胥過橋關的故事。
Wu Zixi 我查過的故事。
這個伍子胥是個真渣有學問嘅人，
And this Wu Zixi was a very well-educated
但
person.
當時這個王叫做楚王，愛做提示，
But during that time, there was a king, Chu Wang, wanted to kill him.
佢就走咯個，
And so he had to
佢
flee.
不見投靠另外一個國家叫做吳國，
He wanted to seek refuge in another state, that is Wuge.
需要經過一個所在叫做橋關。
But he needed to go through a certain pass, which is called the Chaoguan.
橋關是人嘅山嘅中間一條路，
Chaoguan is a pass like a valley in between two mountains.
所以冇辦法路上嘅，即刻就經過一條路。
So there was really no other way except to pass through that particular
走
pass.
走去呢，走去呢。
So how would he do it?
佢鬼暗真擔心，鬼暗真擔心，鬼暗真擔心。
The whole night he was so worried. He was extremely worried.
早起起來嘅時陣，
When he woke up in the morning,
人驚咗，
people were shocked.
鬼頭白起，
His hairs were all white.
少年嘅變咗老人。
He was a young man, but he became like an old
結
man.
果就經過呢個橋關，無人連不以來。
And so he was able to pass through that pass safely because no one recognized him.
互信歷史嘅別嘅，互信少不誇張淡薄啦。
You know, history, sometimes these kind of stories are a little bit exaggerated.
可能唔是很厲害啦，
Perhaps it wasn't really that serious.
但係的確有改變。
But there must have been some change.
一暗中間老啊真濟，
Within one single night, he grew so old.
其實咱都看到，你知冇？
Actually, we all see this.
嗱，這個人喺家裏面都真濟壓力嘅時陣，
And if a person experiences a lot of pressures in the
這個
family,
人老來老容易操勞。
this person will look he will look older very quickly.
這個常常喜樂嘅人，
But a person who's always joyful
無限容易操勞。
will not look old that
這個
easily.
常常真濟壓力嘅人，較緊老啦。
But a person who's often gets a lot of pressures will get old or grow old
唔
easily.
那是安尼，
Not only that.
第三好人忘記，
Thirdly, he was forgotten.
呢啲家居裏面幫襯嘅人，創explain 這個 dream，
He was in prison and he helped two persons interpret their
伊
dreams.
講你嗱出去嘅時候，請你紀念我哦。
And he told them that when you get out of prison, please remember me.
會啦。
And they told him, yes, we'll remember
佢講
you.
未記得，
But they forgot all
好
about
人
him.
未記人意，
He was forgotten for 2 years.
你對人好，人未記得你。
Well, when you treat others well, they forget you.
你會感覺咩？
Would you feel bad about it?
人都是安尼，
And, we people are like
人都
that.
是安尼。
We are all like that.
人對人好，咱冇容易誰記得？
When people treat us well, it is not easy for us to
人
remember.
對咱歹，一擺就當中記得。
But when people treat us badly, just one single incident and we can remember it
人
very
真
well.
奇怪，
People are strange
你對佢
creatures.
真好，
You treat him very well,
一擺冇好，
but you treat him just once
一擺記條條。
badly, then he remembers that
哎
one
呀
time.
做事對佢真好，
And Joseph treated him very well.
人你未記得，
But 2 years he was forgotten.
只是壓力。
And that was pressure.
但是喺13年壓力嘅裏面，
But in 13 years of pressure,
佢提升起嚟。
after that, he was exalted.
而30歲就係最全國嘅埃及嘅王，
When he was 30 years of
He
age,
Prime Minister.
he became the prime minister of Egypt.
為什麼你知冇？
You know why?
真啊，
Why?
因為約瑟裏面嘅生命嘅問題，
It was a question of the life that is in Joseph.
壓力和約瑟裏面嘅生命哪來哪成熟起嚟？
Pressure allows the life within Joseph to mature.
成熟多嚟成功，
And maturity brings about success.
真簡單。
Very simple.
你知裏面有一個籃球，
If you have a basketball in your hands,
裏面就充滿着氣 air，
a ball that is filled with air,
你就真多啦貼喺頭殼裏面，
and you throw it to the ground with a lot of strength,
伊會崩。
it will rebound.
你拿大點，你就拿會崩得真快。
The harder you throw it to the ground, the higher it will rebound.
因為裏面裏面充滿着生命嘅規律。
Because inside that ball is the power of life.
相反呢，
On the other
嗱，
hand,
這個籃球裏面冇 air，
if there is no air within this ball,
冇力，
there's no
當
power.
你添落去嘅時陣，
When you throw it to the ground,
你攞大點添落去，
the harder you throw it to the ground,
伊還咗冇等起嚟。
it doesn't react. It
因
cannot
為
rebound.
裏面冇這個生命可以等起嚟。
Because there is no life within it that allows it to rebound.
壓力幫助你屬靈嘅生命成熟到這個時陣變長大，變嗰個成功起嚟。
Pressure allows your life to such a point that you are able to grow up and to become mature.
這是做實。
That was
你
Joseph.
講緊 David，David
Now take a look at David.
正在合乎上帝心意嘅人。
David is referred to as a man after God's own heart.
哇！這個人真係一生真真成功嘅，唔知？
Now you see this person's life was very
呢
successful.
個先至就講。
Take a look at what the Bible says.
大必照上帝旨意學晒了這個四大人就困咯。
For when David had served God's purpose in his own generation, he fell asleep.
我哋注意一句真真重要嘅話，
Now I want you to take note of a very important word here.
照上帝嘅旨意侍奉上帝迄大嘅人，
He served God's purpose in his own generation.
真正嘅成功是照上帝旨意去侍奉。
Real success is serving God in accordance with God's will.
主愛我最神秘，
What does the Lord want me to do?
我就最神秘。
That is what I do.
我真驚，
What I'm most afraid of,
我這裡等咱面對上帝嘅時陣，
that when we face God,
我做了真罪大事，
that I've done a lot of things,
小竟然冇承認。
and yet the Lord doesn't acknowledge them.
耶穌講，
Jesus said,
將來有人甲我講，
there will be some people who will
主
say
話
to me,
我奉你嘅名掛鬼傳道。
Lord, did we not drive out demons? Did we not prophesy
主
in
講我
your
唔
name?
捌你，我唔捌你。
But the Lord is going to say, I do not know
為
you.
什麼唔捌你？
Why does he not know
你
you?
所做嘅大事唔是掛叫你去做，你自己走去做。
Because the things that you are doing aren't things that I wanted you to do.
主冇紀念咱，
And the Lord doesn't remember us.
大必
David,
這個人一生是照上帝旨意學晒了上帝迄大嘅人。
David served God's purpose in his own generation.